Hello.
Sir, we are starting the chanting, sir.
Hello.
Sir, we can hear you.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Om Garana Antva Ganapati Gam Havamahe Kaving Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anasrinvanutipis Sidasadanam Mahaganapataye Namaha Prano Devi Saraswati Vajepir Vajinivati Thinama Vitrabatu Ano Divo Brahataf Parvatada Saraswati Yajata Gantu Yajnam Havan Devi Jujushana Gratachi Shagman no Vachamushati Shanotu Pag Devyai Namaha Om Shano Mitra Varunaha Shano Bhavat Tvaryama Shanna Indro Brahaspatihi Shano Vishnururkramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ratam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Namaskar. This morning's chanting was by Martha Moore Benson. She is a student of Mrs. Shantala Sriramaya, who has learned chanting from the Vedic Pandits, the Chalakere brothers. Swagatam and welcome to all our esteemed speakers, guests, and audiences from around the world to our annual event Namaste 2021. This is a global Utsava of Indian soft power brought to you by the Center for Soft Power, which is an arm of the Indic Academy, in collaboration with the ICCR. This is our 8th session, Word Power, New Writings in Ayurveda. Bharata, or India as she is called, our motherland, has down the ages always been on a path of research and updating of all knowledge that is connected to this Jagat, or this manifested world, which is in an eternal state of flux. Amidst this change, our ancient seers had understood that there is a substratum that is changeless. Our knowledge systems are documented, and it has fallen into the categories of the Ashtadasha Vidyasthanas, or the 18 knowledge systems, starting from the changeless Bindu. Ayurveda also falls into this category of wisdom, the science of life. As is known, our country till 1947 has been invaded for over 1,000 years and has faced wave upon wave of invaders who came to divest us of our wealth. Many stayed back to conquer, and then the era of colonization, and now the era of globalization. All through these tumultuous times, a major portion of our knowledge has remained intact. The chance to update and adapt has come only now. So today we will be highlighting new writings in Ayurveda. I thank all our esteemed panelists once again for accepting to be here with us, and I will hand over to our young Varsha Venkatraman to introduce the moderator for today, who is also like a part of our Center for Soft Power family. I should say is a part of our Center for Soft Power family, Dr. Somit Bhattacharya. So over to you, Varsha. Sorry, that was Somit Kumar Ghosh.
Thank you, Adi. Namaste, everybody. I am very pleased to introduce our speaker moderator for today, Dr. Somit Kumar. Like Vijayalakshmi Aunty just said, Dr. Somit is a very close family member to CSP, and we're very, very glad to have him with us here today. A few words about him. Dr. Somit is the director, AVP Research Foundation in Coimbatore, and he's also the CEO of AVP Baltics, which is a European venture of AVP. He is also associated in the capacity of university lecturer and research scholar at the University of Latvia. His primary area of research includes clinical research and reverse pharmacology in Ayurveda. He is also involved in research in the field of rare genetic disorder Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and he's working as a co-investigator in this project with the University of Milan and Ayush. He is also the co-investigator for a clinical study in association with the University of Latvia to evaluate the efficacy of customized Ayurveda therapy in type 2 diabetes. He's also a part of the author team, which has translated Ashtanga Hridayam in the Latvian language. This is only the tip of an iceberg of his achievements. So less from me and more from Dr. Somit. Welcome, Dr. Somit. The session is yours.
Good morning and namaskaram to everybody. Thank you, Vijayalakshmi ma'am and Varsha, for giving me this opportunity to moderate this session. And what is more important is that we are amongst three most distinct pioneers in Ayurveda, and all these three authors, scholar, physician, researcher, in many roles have been able to propagate the whole core message of Ayurveda, where science and spirituality has been able to be blend together, and with the dimension of research and updation, they have played a major role in contemporizing Ayurveda knowledge system, not only in India, but throughout the world. So first, I would like to take the honor to introduce Dr. Mark Halpern, who in fact began his career in 1987 as a chiropractic doctor in US, but then he got interested into Ayurveda and yoga, one of the two distinct systems of not only healing, but we talk about how do you define and customize your lifestyle in a way that gives you both physical and psychological as well as spiritual well-being. So he has been researching a lot in this field, propagating through his own Ayurveda school in US, and we all know about his association with famous scholar Dr. David Prole and Subhas Ranade. Under him, he has completed his Ayurvedic education, and now he has been a pioneer in propagating the message of Ayurveda through his College of Ayurveda in California, and also to his whole contribution, we see that he has also written a very important book on healing of life, the lessons and path of Ayurveda, and it's a series of his lectures and study materials through which he has been trying to integrate Ayurveda and yoga together for the general masses. So I think we welcome you, Dr. Harper, for this session, and we are looking forward to listen from your insights as to how you have been able to contemporize and spread the message of Ayurveda in a more modern setup where there are various challenges of culture, challenges of thought processes. So we are really looking forward to listen from you, sir. We have the second scholar, as well as we say Bhishma of Ayurveda, Dr. G.G. Gangadharan. We are very fortunate to have also association with him. He was a part of our institution before, 2 decades before, but then it was great pleasure to introduce him, that he has represented an ongoing culture of traditional Ayurveda blended with science, and we see his lot of research on whether Prakriti and Ayurgenomics project, or gut or Koshtha, to how to correlate with modern microbiology and genomics again, with gut microbiome. Recently, he has got published, and epigenetics. So I think if you summarize his whole contribution to Ayurveda, is that he has been a Charaka, in fact, but then he has taken the knowledge of Ayurveda to a next level, where he's trying to balance the modern science, pharmacogenomics, which is the next generation medicine, and integrative care, healthcare. And he heads the Ramaya Institute of Indic Academy, where he is the director, and he's the chief physician. He's has been leading a lot of research projects right now, along with different institutions, Ayush and other organizations. Welcome, sir, for this session, and we are looking forward also to listen to you on your new book, Ayurveda, which in fact sheds a lot of light on your recent researches. Good morning, sir, and welcome. We have the third scholar today.
Thank you.
We have third scholar today, Dr. Suhas Kshirsagar. In fact, if we look at the space of, again, in the Western world today, if you look at people who are connected to tradition, so he belongs to a very traditional family from India, specifically in Maharashtra, and he's also has his knowledge in astrology, and he has been very much vocal about propagating the message of Ayurveda and various advances in circadian rhythms. So recent book, You Change Life, or Hot Belly, Hot by How to Think, has been a kind of new into understanding the concepts of dinacharya, the concepts of customizing your diet according to your body type, or according to different country. How do you because we understand that there are basic theories of Ayurveda, but how do you contemporize into different setups, whether in different countries, different climatic zones? This is a bigger challenge to, send a very practical message, and he has been spearheading a lot of effort in contemporizing Ayurveda in US. He's also associated with a lot of names who has been guru kind of with Dr. He's working with Chopra Center. I welcome Dr. Subhash Kshirsagar ji to this deliberation. Have we? So let's, Dr. Mark.
Namaste, everybody. Om Shri Dhanvantaramurte Namaha. It's a blessing to be here, and it is a joy to be able to share with all of you and to share this opportunity with such distinguished guests I'm very honored to participate in this program on really the spread of Ayurveda around the world. I first became involved in Ayurvedic medicine about 1990. And that was when I met David Frawley and began my studies with him. And then I continued my studies with Dr. Subhash Ranade. About 1993, 1994, we realized that nobody here in the United States really knew what Ayurveda was. And I had a vision of trying to build a profession for Ayurvedic medicine here in the United States. I had this vision because Ayurveda is such a profound and important science. It is the science that truly understands the cause of suffering and how to alleviate the cause of suffering, how to maximize the potential for each individual so that they can reach their full lifespan, and in doing so, be of the greatest service to society. And so in 1995, I founded the California College of Ayurvedic Medicine, and I began to teach Ayurvedic medicine. But of course, this was a time when nobody knew what Ayurveda was in the United States. So I traveled around and I began to give lectures at every yoga center in California. And I began to share the knowledge of what Ayurveda was. I also began to practice. And people began to want to receive Ayurvedic healthcare. In a very short period of time, I had a 6-month waiting list of patients waiting to come and see me. And when I traveled around talking about Ayurveda, I found out that everybody wanted to be optimally healthy and to have peace of mind. And that Ayurveda and yoga promised optimum health and peace of mind meant that everyone that learned about it became fascinated and deeply interested. The California College of Ayurveda began in my home. Today, we are on a beautiful campus. We have multiple classrooms, overnight facilities for patients. We have a Panchakarma center. We have herbal gardens and meditation gardens. And it's really a blessing that we've been able to build such a beautiful campus and begin to train practitioners. Along with my graduates, we started the associations here in the United States that are helping to regulate Ayurveda. The National Ayurvedic Medical Association and the California Association of Ayurvedic Medicine. Many other associations as well. All of this is really the outcome of serving Dharma. Serving Dharma to me means surrendering and being an instrument to the divine will. The service that has been provided is really God's will. It is just a process of learning to surrender and do that work. Today, here in the United States, we have thousands of practitioners of Ayurvedic medicine. Some are counselors doing just counseling, helping people to live a healthier lifestyle. Some are doing clinical medicine. And in 2015, we started the first Ayurvedic doctor program here in the United States, training the future doctors, as now we've graduated nearly 50 Ayurvedic doctors that are practicing in this country. It's a process to build a profession. It's not so easy. In India, the knowledge grew from the soil. It grew from the soil of India, and it has beautiful blossoms with a beautiful scent and fragrance. And everybody knows that scent and that fragrance in India. But outside of India, very few people knew about it. So it fell upon me and others like me here in the United States to plant the seeds for Ayurveda. And people like David Frawley, people like Deepak Chopra, people like Robert Svoboda, and myself traveled around, and we began to talk all about Ayurveda, and people became interested in it. This knowledge is inherently unique. No other system of medicine in the world truly understands the totality of the cause of suffering and how disease moves from consciousness to the mind and how it moves from the mind to the body. And that healing only occurs when we journey to heal body, mind, and consciousness. And here in the United States, that is what is so attractive about Ayurveda. There are so many systems that address the body. There is herbalism, there's acupuncture and chiropractic and Western allopathic medicine. Very few treat the body and the mind. And none that I know of truly understand the interconnection between body, mind, and consciousness. And therein is what makes Ayurveda so unique. And so it has been a great service to be able to live my life in a way that facilitates the cultivation of harmony in people and their relationship to nature. Harmony is at the core of the Ayurvedic message. I like to say that where there is harmony, there is health. Where there is disharmony, there is disease. And Ayurveda is the path of understanding what is harmonious for you, whether it's through diet or whether it's through any of your five senses. We take into our bodies that which is going to nourish us. If we take in that which is harmonious for our unique nature, our prakriti, constitution, and our vikruti, our imbalances. If we take in that which matches who we are, then our physiology is balanced, it becomes normal, and healing takes place. Disease is prevented, and if we're sick, we heal. It's such a beautiful system of medicine. So this has been my work since 1995 here in the United States for the last nearly 25 years now, 26 years now, has been to run the California College of Ayurveda, to train practitioners, to go out into their communities, and to become beacons of harmony. And when I think about harmony, I really think about being the expression of love and awareness. It is this combination of love and awareness that I believe brings about the deepest healing. This is truly what I think of when I think of remembering our true nature as spirit and overcoming avidya, or the ignorance that is the primordial cause of all suffering. And it's my hope that during this lifetime that I make a small difference in the lives of my patients, my students, and the patients that they ultimately wind up treating. So I thank you all so much for the opportunity to be here this evening. It is truly an honor. The beautiful work that everyone here is doing to propagate the knowledge of Ayurveda, to propagate the knowledge of India, which is so absolutely beautiful and so important that this fundamental knowledge become part and parcel of the way in which every human being thinks and every human being acts. Thank you again so much. Namaste.
Thank you, Dr. Mark. Thank you, Dr. Mark. And I would really look forward for the next round of discussion where we would like to again a little shed more a broader light over your book, Healing Your Life, and what was the inspiration behind. But then we are looking forward into the next round of our discussion. So right now, I would also like to invite Gigi Gangadharan sir to shed his and share his opening remarks and his inspiration, which keeps him following the path of excellence in Ayurveda and mentoring many of us like us in the path which he has been propagating. Gangadharan sir.
Sir, you have to unmute yourself, sir.
Namaste to all of you. I hope all can hear me clearly.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
I am extremely happy to be with you all, and it is an honor. And I was just thinking about the past. I believe Ayurveda and yoga are the two civilizational gifts that this country, Bharat, has given to the world. In 1975, when I have got a history before I studied Ayurveda. I was roaming around in the jungles of Bihar and then in Madhya Pradesh. When my sister sent a book on Raja Yoga by Swami Vivekananda, which made me to think that we have got many good, great things in this land, which has gone completely unnoticed, unrecognized, and we have been like an animal carrying on its back full of gold coins and sandalwood pieces, and thinking and worrying that how I can get rid of this weight on my back, because the mass is the only virtue that animal has been aware of, not the virtues of that two very precious elements being carried by that animal. That was the mindset of most of the Indians about his traditional knowledge, wisdom, and practices. So it made me very painful that I am not able to contribute anything to this great nation's heritage. And please believe me, when you have got a great desire to do something, consciously you pray for that. As someone has told in the past, the whole universe conspire to help you to achieve that. That's why after 2 years, I met Sri Krishna Kumarji, who made me what I am today through the great institution he established in 1978 on the surroundings of Coimbatore in the valley of Western Ghats. Why I tell this point is that when you have got a sincere desire, things without any selfish motive towards that, when there is an ichha in your mind, and jnana and karma comes and bless you to do that. That is what my life experience is. As been experienced by many of you, Ayurveda is like a well-orchestrated music for me. We feel like dancing to that music. That's what happens with my life. Ayurveda is not merely a science. It is a whole philosophy, whole backup system, which promote you to become a complete person. It touches your dharma, it touches your artha, it touches your kama, and which will ultimately take you to the moksha path. There is no other physical science which is so ambitious and so much powerful, which has got all the tools to help you to achieve that. Ayurveda does not give a very blank promise. It gives promise with the tools to achieve that promise, provided you are ready to follow that advices. That's why the first chapter says that Ayurveda Udesheshu Videya Paramadara. Paramadara, Vagbhara uses each word with a purpose. He never utter a single vowel without a very implicated meaning. So when you are completely surrendered to the teachings of Ayurveda with Paramadara, with the great respect and devotion and purpose, you achieve what it promises. So with this is what happened to me. When I decided, there was a college opened for Ayurveda, which suits my kind of mindset, and I could prepare for its examinations. I could pass through that many hurdles that has been there to go through that, and all came to me with a blessing, and I could achieve. And I will talk about my feelings and my experience. Some of them I have put in the book, latest book by Penguin, the Ayurveda, How to Restore Your Health. The journey in Ayurveda for me has been a great experience and great revelation. And I feel that more and more people, when they understand, they will learn. So that I tell everyone, if you are serious enough to completely devote your life, then only come to Ayurveda. Ayurveda is not a just practice. Don't think that you come to Ayurveda to develop a career. Then you are not an Ayurveda person. You are only a karmi of Ayurveda. The three levels of Ayurveda, Tattva, Shastra, and Vyavahara. Most of the Ayurveda practitioners, even I say, including me, are Vyavaharis. Vyavahara is only the bottom line of the superficial line of Ayurveda. We have to go to Shastra, we have to achieve Tattva, then we become someone like near to the positions of Charaga, Sutrada kind of stalwarts who originally contributed to the aspects of Ayurveda. So Ayurveda plays at three levels. What we see today as Ayurveda is only the Vyavahara level, the practice level. We have to go beyond practice. Practice is the output of Ayurveda, but Tattva and Shastra are the sciences of Ayurveda. This is my experience. I'm extremely happy. I don't want to take more of your time. I'll be happy to contribute in the panel discussion when it comes. And I congratulate Mrs. Vijayalakshmi and the group and Somit Kumar and all at AVP who have thought about this soft power, kind of kindling it to make it a big fire so that the light goes to everyone who is looking for that. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, Gangadharan sir. I would like to now invite Shubhas ji to share his journey from India to a land where Ayurveda was very less accepted or known, and how did he made this journey possible and reach the pinnacle of success which he is now at, in terms of not only the growth in his popularity as a physician or as an intellectual, but also how did he face challenges in getting the thought process accepted in a Western mindset. Shubhas ji, your kind overviews.
Thank you. Thank you, Somit ji. I hope you all can hear me and see me perfectly fine.
Yeah.
My sincere regards to Dr. G.G. Gangadharan ji. As we all know, he has been a doyen in Ayurvedic medicine, working tirelessly for a very long time. And I salute for his work and services towards our Shastra Ayurveda. My fellow friend and colleague, Dr. Malk Halpan, who has also been on this tireless pursuit of spreading the message of Ayurveda and training the next level of students and practitioners of Ayurveda in the United States. And of course, Dr. Somit ji, you are young, vibrant, dynamic. We are familiar with your work, and we expect much more from you in the coming years. And of course, Vijayalakshmi ji, who has put this all together, as we all say, Yojakas Tatra Durlava, to put it all together and to inspire many, not only Indians, but our international fraternity to really understand the new writings in the field of Ayurveda. I think this is a unique topic which is very close to my heart, and I'll be talking a little bit more about this, but I would like to share my little journey in how I got myself into the situation where I am today. I was born and brought up in a traditional Vedic family back in India, in a very rural part, in a small city called Ahmednagar, where you're all familiar where Shirdi is. I grew up into a rural climate, went to a traditional Ayurvedic college, finished my bachelor's in Ayurveda, did my MD in Ayurvedic medicine, Kai Chikitsa, received a gold medal from Pune University, and was practicing in the rural parts of India when I received a phone call from His Holiness Maharshi Mahesh Yogi, who was the founder of the Transcendental Meditation Group. And he said that we want you and your wife, Dr. Manisha, who is also an Ayurvedic physician, to come and bring this message of Ayurveda right from your roots to the rest of the world. And we joined the Transcendental Meditation movement, and Maharshi Ji sent us in all different corners of the world. So for many, many years, me and Manisha, we literally lived out of suitcases. We went to about 39, 40 different countries where we literally lived, worked, taught classes, conducted workshops, seminars, started schools, started Panchakarma clinics, trained the local doctors. And it was enormous, enormous experience for all of you. From Ukraine, you go to Lebanon, Lebanon, you go to South Korea to Brazil, Brazil back to Sweden, variety of different countries, interacting with people, interacting with different medical infrastructure in the world, which actually created a very different perspective to where I was coming from. We grew up with Ayurveda, and we understand this, and we understand this is a mere extension of who we are, how we think, how we choose, how we eat, how we live. But looking at this as a practical aspect of medicine, and at that time, practicing Ayurveda without the availability of a single Ayurvedic medicine that we had. No churna, no kashayam, no avaleham, nothing. What we had was some simple spices and some changes in food and diet and lifestyle. And they itself were so powerful that we applied this template over and over again. And this opportunity for many, many years made me interact with some stalwarts in this field. And as we say that you have to constantly learn your own Shastra that you have learned, you have understood, you are trained, but you have to constantly learn new things. And as I traveled around the globe in all the major cities around the world, and later I was interacting with some very eminent people like Dr. Chopra, Wayne Dyer, Tony Robbins, recently Andrew Weil, Mark Halpern, Mark Hyman, so many people where they are talking about something which they know. But every new research that is coming out is all Ayurvedic. And this might be a bold statement to say, but every new research that is coming out is literally revalidating the ancient concepts of Ayurvedic medicine. And I think what we need, especially with this little dharma that I have undertaken, which is to bring the ancient wisdom and validate this latest medical research. My first book that was published by Simon & Schuster, The Hot Belly Diet, was the simple concept of Agni and Ama, which became a bestseller. The concept of Agni and Ama were still very occult, hidden, esoteric to people. How do we prove it? How do we correlate the science and all the different aspects of the qualities of Agni that has been described in Ayurveda? And same with Ama. I continued this journey to my next book, where the recent discovery of clock genes, which actually talked about the time is embedded in our genes, and understanding the Ayurvedic concept of dinacharya, ritucharya, ratricharya, the aspects of daily routine, seasonal routine, and most importantly, the circadian rhythm, the celestial rhythms, the nocturnal rhythms, various different cycles that we knew it all along. But we needed to blend that with the latest discovery of the clock genes and understanding that what is going on in our body is it is responding to what is happening outside your window. As our little planet Earth is swirling on its axis and moving at a dizzying speed around sun, the days and night are created, the seasons are changing. And what we can do is We can just simply synchronize our internal rhythms with the external rhythms. And this is nothing new for the students and the practitioners of Ayurveda. But what we needed was to create a different lingo that will create more and more respect and attention towards one of the most ancient and most comprehensive science of healthcare that is known to humanity. And I think that is exactly the purpose. Another book that I co-authored with Pandit Vamdev Shastri, David Frawley, which is The Art and Science of Vedic Counseling, is how can you not only just look at Ayurveda, but look at the whole picture, the whole integration of Vedic sciences, of bridging yoga, Ayurveda, Jyotish, Sthapatya Veda, Gandharva Veda, because the common thread in all of this is the science of consciousness. It's about living in accordance with the laws of nature. So this concept of counseling, helping, guiding people, not only to improve their physical health, but their emotional health, and how to live and how to optimize their life. Because Ayurveda is nothing but the science of epigenetics. When we give diet to people about Vata, Pitta, Kapha, Pacific diet, this is nothing but nutrigenomics. It's about nutrition, which will either turn on or turn off certain genetic pathways in your body. So I expect the new doctors, I expect the new breed and the creed of Ayurvedic Vaidyas to be very eloquent, to be very well-read, knowledgeable in both of these aspects while they're present. It has to be authentic, okay? We cannot go totally overboard with one side of it. It has to come from the source. It has to be authentic. And that authenticity will give you the strength and the courage. And if you do things which are right, which are appropriate, which are authentic, the success will naturally come to you. People are hungry. What we know, the current statistics around globally is about 70–80% of the disease are non-communicable diseases. About 7 out of 10 chronic diseases have no cure in modern medicine. These are lifestyle diseases. And Ayurveda is the original lifestyle medicine. And if you blend that with yoga, we have such a powerful tool in our arsenal. And pardon to use this term, but I think that is what's important. Gangadharanji said that we are Vyavahari Ayurvedas. Yeah, means we have to talk to people, we have to run a business. I have a full-fledged Panchakarma center in Northern California here. I have my son who's also an Ayurvedic doctor, my wife also an Ayurvedic doctor. We see lots of patients. We have them go through Panchakarma. I'm related with numerous schools and Ayurvedic institutions. In fact, I was the first executive director who launched Kerala Ayurveda schools and academies in United States. We launched a series of Ayurvedic schools and clinics in United States. I was the dean of the Mount Monona College of Ayurveda until now. And more importantly, I'm trying to create a little bit more synergy in the structure, the standard, the scope, and the competency of Ayurvedic medicine, how it should be practiced outside India, working with all the top experts in this field. So once again, it's my great joy and honor to be a part of this August assembly. I wish this movement of soft power a great success, because we all need to bring not only Indian diaspora together, but especially our new generation, to help them understand that the preciousness of the culture and the tradition where we come from, and all the sciences that are perfectly seamlessly holding their space in spite of the modern trends and changes of the lifestyle. So I wish you a great success. And once again, thank you for inviting me. Namaste.
Thank you, Suhasji, and we'll come back to you also to listen something more about your recent book. So, in fact, many a times we always feel that if something which is ancient is sometimes not evolving. In fact, if you look at the whole literature of Ayurveda, right from Brihatrais, which is Charaka, Shushruta, and Vagbhata, which was almost 800 BC to 1000 CE kind of. It has got updated, revalidated, and contemporized as and when it was required. And not only that, if you look at the whole history of development of Ayurvedic thought process and the culture of updation and integration of recent advances, you also look through the existence of Laghuttarais, that is very specific treatise on Ayurvedic pharmacology or pharmacopoeia, which is Bhava Prakash, or it is pharmaceutics or pharmacy related literature, which is Sharangadhara Samhita, or even Madhav Nidana, which is in terms of advancement in Ayurvedic diagnosis. Now, so what we would like to share that Ayurveda was always a science which believed in updation and integration of new knowledge systems. So that's why it was always very much a part of the whole thought process that you have to look into other contemporary science. Charaka himself has talked about it, that we need to look into other contemporary science, and Bahushrutam, we should listen to many thought process and create a pathway which is more integrative, multidisciplinary, or interdisciplinary in nature. Then only we can exist, or we can evolve this whole thought process. So there's one more very unique, historical evidence that how Ayurveda even evolved a new stream of thinking, where in era of Buddhist era, where surgery was not encouraged because of the religious thought process that time, believing more in non-violence. There were many innovations in Rasa Shastra, where today, Indian alchemy, we popularly known as, where this whole stream or branch of Ayurveda was optimized in order to, and many innovations were done to include the science so that we can create a very fast and very effective therapies which can be utilized in cases where we need surgical intervention. So what I would like to share with our viewers is, it's not that Ayurveda has never had that ethos or culture of updation. It was always, and that's why it's called as science. Anything which keeps evolving according to the current scenario and challenges posed by different eras and centuries. So coming back to Dr. Mark, as we have discussed, that if you can just share, today's whole topic is about your contribution. What is the new integrated, or what is something which you have kind of contributed to the literature of Ayurveda in contemporizing and making people understand these ancient theories for in a more scientific, we can say, or and more a language which is more contextual. So Dr. Mark, I would like to listen to you about, I would like to listen on what inspired to write this book, and what is the message from this book we would like to share with our viewers today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sumit. I have written a book for the public called Healing Your Life, Lessons on the Path of Ayurveda. And this was to help the general public in the United States to be able to learn Ayurveda and apply it to themselves, to see that the journey is really one of healing your life, and we need knowledge in order to do that. Healing our lives means healing body, mind, and consciousness. And healing your life is a guide for how to do that. And it shares a bit about my own story as well, as I applied Ayurveda into my own life. At one time, in fact, I was completely crippled. And it was through Ayurveda and through methods in yoga that I was able to completely restore my health. Most of my writing, however, has been more on the educational side for Ayurvedic practitioners. I've written 4 textbooks in the field of Ayurvedic medicine. One is called Principles of Ayurvedic Medicine, and the other is called Clinical Ayurvedic Medicines, Volume 1, 2, and 3. In fact, this is the Volume 3 right here, textbook. These textbooks have taken the knowledge from the Brihat and Laghu Treya and updated them for the Western world in Western language, and taken the classical knowledge from Charaka, Shushrut, Vagbat, Madhavandanam, Sarangadhara Samhita, and taken all of these and brought them together into a body of knowledge, a singular textbook, and then articulated it, I hope, in a manner in which Westerners are able to more easily study and more easily relate to the knowledge. These 4 textbooks make up the body of the curriculum that our students study here at the California College of Ayurveda. These textbooks have been published and edited over the past 25 years, and they're made available to all of our students. Next year, we'll be releasing them to the broader public as well, and broader field of Ayurvedic physicians, so that they will also be able to benefit from these textbooks. It is very important to constantly update the knowledge of Ayurveda. Now, when I say update the knowledge of Ayurveda, I don't mean to change it at all. I mean to re-articulate it in the modern language and the modern culture. Ayurveda originated in India and, of course, in the Sanskrit language. Here in the United States, people do not know even the Sanskrit alphabet, let alone the Sanskrit language or even Sanskrit terminologies. So we have the challenge of having to determine how to best communicate the fundamental principles of Ayurveda to the general public, and then go deeper with the Ayurvedic practitioners who are studying here in the United States. And as Dr. Suhas talked about, it's also so very important to bring modern science like epigenetics into the conversation, because there is a tremendous amount of integration. There is a tremendous amount of science that is already present that proves Ayurveda. I teach a course here at the college on research methodology, where we go through the published research through PubMed and other research databases. And we take a look at the research on Ayurvedic medicine, on herbal medicine, on epigenetics, and on molecular medicine. Well, we talk about the importance of epigenetics. The importance of molecular medicine is also very important, because the molecules that are present within the Ayurvedic herbs have actually been shown to repair the genes such as P53 that are found in a variety of cancer patients and in a variety of different cancers, not just P53, but many various genes that regulate cell growth and cell division. But this is just one example. They're found and proven to be anti-inflammatory. They're found and proven to reduce pain and so on. It's remarkable what the ancient teachers of Ayurveda came to understand about the herbs. We have no choice except to try to communicate it in modern language. Western science is the modern language. So Ayurvedic doctors have to know Western science, and they have to know how to communicate it effectively. Yet also at the same time, stay absolutely true to the classical knowledge. This is very, very important, because the classical knowledge is absolutely fundamental to bringing Ayurveda to the world. It's where the gifts lie. Western medicine already is an expert in Western medicine. Westerners want that, but they want something new. And what is new to Westerners is the understanding of the integration of body, mind, and consciousness, and that lifestyle is so very important to our health and our well-being. All of this is very important. And so my writing has been to try to contribute a clear way of communicating these concepts, both to the general public through Healing Your Life and to our next generation of Ayurvedic practitioners through the 4 textbooks that I've written, Principles of Ayurvedic Medicine and Clinical Ayurvedic Medicines, Volume 1 through 3. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Dr. Harp. In fact, if you look at the whole recent history or contemporary history of Ayurveda 100 years back, we see one of the pioneers were Gananath Sen. Like, he was a Sanskrit scholar, but as well as he was a medical graduate. And then he took one of the first attempt to, write a kind of a book which correlated modern anatomy with Ayurveda, and Pratyaksh Shariram is one of the book which he had written. So it's, in fact, the whole attempt to contemporize Ayurveda had always been there, whether it was across each century, it had been there. That's why, in fact, the collection of textbooks or basic manuscript in Ayurveda is more than 100,000, which is yet preserved, and how many destroyed across generations, we don't know. So in fact, Gangadharan sir has been pioneer also in that field. So I would bring him at this point right now to comment on, he had been associated with National Manuscript Digitalization Program. He has done a lot of effort on that area, and as well as with his recent book, talking about very clearly the advances in research, which is driven by hardcore genomic research in whether it is gut microbiome or pharmacogenomics, how through his experiences over years have been able to blend, and what is the message which he has tried to put forth in this book. Of course, this is available online, but we would like to listen from you, your the core message, what you want to give to our viewers today. Gangadharan sir.
Thank you, Samit, for that introduction. This is the book he has been talking about, which has been published by Penkin. The advantage I see through this kind of publication is it reaches the masses, people who want it, so we'll be able to read it. There's one other work which I published together with Dr. Vandana Shiva. Is the old philosophy of Ayurveda, how it helps for the future generation, how we are going away from the nature and how our development has been highly mechanistic, how distorted the old life purpose because of the mechanistic worldview, and whether we want a life of diversity-based natural living system, or we want a mechanistic and reductionistic thing, which is propounded by industrial kind of mindset, which are looking commerce as the main tool of development. So I think that book also should be read with this book, because that gives a lot of philosophical background of why one is in this area. And I strongly believe Ayurveda is a science waiting to be explored. It is a sleeping giant, and aspects of Ayurveda are yet to be revealed to the people to use. And if you look into the evolution of Ayurveda, like Swamit has been telling in the initial introduction, from Rig Veda, where there is explanation, there are explanation about 10 to 12 plants. When it comes to Atharvaveda, there are 62 plants being explained, and Charasam is around 650 plants, then 1,200 plants in Vagpada's work. And the latest survey conducted by Ministry of Environment and Man and Biosphere Program, 12 years, where they mapped the ethnic communities' practices of local traditions, came out with a list of 7,000 species of medicinal plants of India, which are being used by different ethnic communities for different purposes of health-related activities. So it shows the abundance of knowledge that's lying in this area. And we say in Ayurveda that Jagattev Manosadam na vidyat kinjit vasadhananartha yoga yoga. This very profound um, uh, presentation of Ayurveda, thinking that everything in this universe is potentially medicinal, that concept come with a great background behind that. This is the thing that I say that it's a sleeping giant. It is to be explored further. The book I have written latest is based on my experience and my sadness that how behind the schedule we are to reach to the expectations of Ayurveda as a science. So there are areas. One of the areas I feel that we have been not giving enough contribution is the area of epigenetics and pharmacogenomics. Epigenetics in the sense that this is not even an aspect even thought about scientists of the future. Whereas Ayurveda has been telling that we can correct, we can mold, we can reshape the future if we are doing enough effort. And there is one concept which I explained in my book, which I want to that Prakara Yoga. Prakara Yoga is a hidden concept, has been propounded by people in the area of pediatrics in Ayurveda, which talks about the day one of the birth of the child to the 12th year, how we can constantly correct and reshape and make a person perfectly healthy and who can be completely prevented from any kind of diseases of infectious nature, as well as how there is, if any genetic deformities that has to be happen, that can be prevented. So this kind of great concepts, and not even a single study has been done on this Prakara Yoga, which is very potential area of Ayurveda. And if you look into other areas also, the eugenics. Eugenics is a concept very unique to Ayurveda. How many of us are talking about eugenics? Eugenics talk about how a parent has to be prepared to make a healthy offspring through the conjugation in their lifespan. So why we are giving Adulya Gotram, Adulya Dosham, etc. in a marriage proposal? Why we keep a distance, a gap of 3 to 4 years between male and female? What is the importance of certain nakshatras when the conjugation takes place? What is the importance of certain kind of dietetics which has to be followed by the couple who is looking for a healthy offspring? And there are histories of creating a engineered child to defeat a person in a conference after 6 years of nurturing that child from the day of conception. That means we can make a child of a great IQ and we can plan it, we can engineer it, and we can create this kind of anecdotal history, anecdotal things are there in the history, which is not very past, very old. So this makes that one to think that there is a need for a concerted effort to work in those areas of gray areas that are there in Ayurveda. And there is a need for someone to work on a long-term mission of bringing this out to the public. For that, only way is to kindle more and more interest in people. That's why I'm telling in my introductory remarks of my book that we don't want defenders any for Ayurveda. Ayurveda does not need any defenders. We want champions. Champions who can take this Ayurveda to the next level. For that, we need institutions of long-term mission. This has to be supported with not by 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, no, 20 year, 50 year plans we make it. And take areas of importance like eugenics, epigenetics, pharmacogenomics, and areas of Shraddha, Kriya Kala, Agni. These are all things which we can prevent. Even the new generations of chains of conditions of cancerous growth, the malignancy, how it happens, how it starts, and how the cells behave in a mad way. What is the reason for cells to behave in a mad way? It was not so common before. Why it is happening today? How the mind works on your body, how the mind is influenced by the consciousness. What is the seat of the consciousness? How consciousness can affect your mind and vice versa. So these are all gray area which are not well known to scientists of modern biomedical system where Ayurveda can contribute a lot. So each chapter of my book, this book, has put in a very simple language. Any common man can read it like reading a simple novel and understand the essence of Ayurveda in a simple way. And I also try to give in this book simple practices one can follow to keep one's body healthy and mind healthy. These are the things which are gone unnoticed. Because most of our work, what happens is very technical. When it becomes technical, which can attract only people who are in the stream. We want to get people attract from outside the stream to come to Ayurveda, not as a practitioner, but as a follower of concepts of Ayurveda, which will help them to improve their health. So we need more work, more institutions, and more long-term missions to achieve that. That's what I have been doing this work. I have done some work before in 2006 when I brought together a group to look into the manuscripts that is lying in this country. We worked with the National Manuscript Mission and found that there are more than 100,000 manuscripts in health alone in different languages of India. A single library in Tamil Nadu, in Tanjavur Saraswati Mahal, we have got more than 20,000 written manuscripts which are not even looked into properly or edited properly on health. And there are thousands of them. And we published few of them. And it has given this one lot of interest to the people, like Bhojana Kutuhalam, Kshema Kutuhalam. These are all books on dietetics alone. If you look into dietetics alone, which is the cornerstone of Ayurveda, there are so many books we don't have in the curriculum of Ayurvedic teaching these books. People are not aware of these books. So we don't know what is the importance of Tadrasam, why Tadrasam, Madhura Prayam, Sasadik, Yorudarada, why it is told like that. And why is the concept rasa comes to food? And how do the biochemical connections of rasas, how it is affects in your metabolic process. These are very great areas which can contribute the future of mankind. Each area I have told, the gut, gut and microbiome. See, we have been telling in the hundreds of years that Vasti is the most important procedure in Ayurveda. And we say very boldly that Vasti is Chilsartham iti katyade. All treatments of Ayurveda told in one side and Vasti in the other side. They balance each other. Vasti is equivalent to all other treatments. Why it is told? We are not told about Vamana like this. We are not told about Virajana like that or Nasya like that, Aktamoksha. But Vasti, Charaka has given one chapter alone on Uttarasthana, telling that how Vasti is important. And today we talked about microbiome. And we said that the gut is the second brain. And we say so many things about how the microorganisms in the system is a reason for your mind to work the specific way you are thinking, how it is causing many diseases, how it can be corrected. So we have got all these probiotics, prebiotics, all those things came into existence, which are there in Ayurveda for a long time. So now we are catching up with the modern inventions and correlating with Ayurveda, whereas we should come with Ayurvedic concept and they should come and improve on that. This kind of things we need a lot of institutions. And now I feel very, very sad that we are very ill-equipped to take up this great giant that is Ayurveda to the forefront of the battlefield, because we don't have that kind of armory with us to fight a long-term mission, long-term institutions, not even single institutions in this country with this kind of vision, with this kind of mission. This all book I have given not only the background, the philosophy on the principles of Ayurveda, the practices that one can follow, also a lot of anecdotal experience one has undergone through the clinical practices, why we feel the way we feel. I think if we take into consideration all this thing, and if we can create a new kind of teaching mechanism, all chapter in the end of my book is about the distortions that has happened in the teaching mechanism, the pedagogy, how it has been distorted, blindly following the modern method of education, which is not in tune with Ayurvedic wisdom at all. Our process of learning through the steps of Adhiti, Bodha, Acharana, Prajarana. These are the 4 levels of learning, which has gone completely out of the window. We don't have that Adhiti process at all. We were made to by heart and understand each sloka of Vagpada before we venture into other areas. We used to have a learning of Sanskrit language before getting into Ayurvedic science. We used to understand the Vaisheshika Darshana, the Shad Darshanas, which is the basis of Ayurvedic thought process. So all these things have gone, and we have made Ayurveda as a subject which we want to embed with a reductionistic science of physics, chemistry, and biology, which does not work. So unless and otherwise we have a foundation in Ayurveda which is strongly built, then we can absorb, understand all the modern science in a right, undistorted way. That is the mission I carry with me, that how we can contemporize Ayurveda without distorting the principles and foundational aspects of Ayurveda. That's a big challenge one has to make. Then we'll be able to make original contributions. I think if you work in this area, Nobel Prizes will be waiting for you. This is the message I would like to give, that study Ayurveda, understand Ayurveda, and put into practice Ayurveda, and go with the principles of Ayurveda. And it is not very difficult. Actually, if you follow that, it's an enjoyable thing to do. You feel that it is working on you, and we feel comfortable with that if you learn it the right way.
Thank you, sir.
Time.
Yeah. So I think, in fact, what was very unique thing which stuck to us as younger lot of Ayurveda physicians, rather I would like to say, is that your book also kind of, as when we grow in as a Ayurvedic physician or as a researcher, we have a lot of dilemmas as to where there is a very independent, discrete allopathic research when we blindly try to correlate, and we don't get books driven by hardcore research based on Ayurveda thought process. So this was a unique book where we saw that when a very hardcore Ayurveda concept was first studied and designed according to what it wanted to get an answer. Like, we wanted to get an answer of whether Prakriti has a correlation to pharmacogenomics, whether gut microflora or gut microbiome has some relation to Koshtha concept. So such kind of research is very important, and these kind of research driven books, when it gets kind of more into more public domain, that is where I also see, as students, as scholars, we get more convinced that yes, we are evolving and we are adding to the whole compendium of knowledge of interdisciplinary understanding of Ayurveda basic principles. So it's excellent kind of inspiration from you, sir. I think we feel that you should all guide us for this kind of innovation, and we really share that the vision of your creating institution of excellence. I've been hearing from you for last a decade now, and you have been trying in your own capacity to do that, and we hope all these visions come alive. And coming to Kshir Sagarji, of course, so I think the latest book, or the book what he has written before, has been at a very inspirational, a very unique in terms of where we all know about circadian genomics now. We know once it got the Nobel Prize of Medicine in 2017, everybody started talking about, and then but the thing is that inherent concept of Dinacharya and Ritucharya is very much aligned to this thought process. And I think through his teaching, he has been able, or through this book, he has been able to very much align the scientific thought process of this concepts and modern advancement in science, biomedicine. So I would like to, listen to Suhasji's basic inspiration behind writing these books, not only this, but the previous book on Agni and Ama also, as to what is the central message you wanted to give through these initiatives.
Well,
and also what were the challenges and criticisms. See, again, one more important thing is also, when we start writing this books based on interpretation and approaches of managing two different thought process. Did you also face criticism, and what is your answer to that?
Well, we always have obstacles and we do face criticism, but that's one more sign that you're on the right track and you're doing the right thing. So going back to what Gangadharanji was saying, that I fully agree that there's nothing more to upgrade in what is already being said in Shastra. It's time to decode it. It's time to really understand it and try to really confidently take maybe a sutra, maybe a concept, maybe a theme, and to really put to a test, because I think there is numerous research that is coming out on a daily basis, but we just have to look at what we have and how we correlate that. When I was doing my research for the Hot Belly Diet book, one of the things that I noticed that about 70% people in the country of United States were eating late and sleeping late. So the tagline was that eat late to gain some weight and sleep late to gain some weight. And we look at it from an Ayurvedic perspective, look at this from an Ayurvedic perspective. We do understand that eating an early dinner, how important that is. And more importantly, that we have been recently hearing about intermittent fasting and the importance and the benefits of fasting. But the concept of upavasa, the concept of hit the book, eating something which is right for you, myth the book, eat less. That helps you live longer, healthier, happier. These are all concepts that are scattered. These are pearls and pearls of wisdom. We just need to take these and apply this to all the latest research that is coming out. One of the things that I noticed when I was writing this book, Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life, was that people are super busy. Their busyness is making them disconnected from their body. They're not mindful in what they do. The timing is everything. And so it's not when you exercise, what you exercise, but when you exercise. It's not what you eat, but when you eat. It's not how much sleep you get, but when you sleep. All of these concepts, when you are aligning your internal rhythms, what the body is trying to do. We talk about the rhythms of doshas, the kala of different doshas that are predominant in the body. And what are the activities that these doshas are carrying out in different srotases, different dhatus and upadhatus. And we try to correlate this Ayurvedic understanding with what the latest scientific research is when the immune system is active, when the lipid synthesis or the triglyceride metabolism is active in the body, and try to correlate with the times of the doshas and the activities that the body is trying to do. You have a complete blend, and that blend it actually fits like a hand and glove together. But it's time for us to actually go out and put it together and make this authentic information present in the light of scientific knowledge. And I think that's the whole concept of it. I have also published numerous research articles, and one of the mission or the purpose that I consider is to really understand where we are coming from, what our strength of Vedic medicine is all about, and where we can apply it. We published a research not long ago at the Chopra Center, where we had people who came and did 1 week intensive with us. So during that 1 week, everybody gathered together. They were doing yoga in the morning. They were doing meditation. They were given simple plant-based Ayurvedic vegetarian diet, including khichdi. They were meditating and doing yoga twice a day. And they were receiving an Ayurvedic Panchakarma treatment for about 2.5 hours each day. And we had this group that we studied everything in their body. All the different biochemical studies, the labs, microbiome studies, genetic profiles, and they were walking around with various gadgets that was monitoring their heart rate variability, their blood pressures, their EKG, time sensors, touch, variety of different markers itself. And we collected the data about a week later after they went through this, what we call it as the modern version of Kaya Kalpa program. We noticed that their telomeres were lengthened by about 43% within a week. All their inflammatory markers came down significantly. All the various pathways of genetic switches that were turning on towards the chronic disease were completely turned off.
Their blood pressure was much more regular. Their inflammatory vascular inflammation went down significantly. This study is actually published in one of the most respected scientific magazines in Nature. So the work that we all have to do is to take this forward, to do it confidently, to interact, not only just integration or interdisciplinary or transdisciplinary research, but having an understanding about how to create a lingo to talk to different people about Ayurveda in a way that not only they will understand, but they will respect. We need to bring the glory back to our sciences so that it not only assumes the respect, but actually becomes not only a new age medicine, but what is needed actually is a total blend of spirituality and medicine together, which the core message of Ayurveda has been. And in the light of thinking about religion, that this is something not right, we have kind of stayed away from this. But spirituality simply means to improve the human potential and actually looking at all the different aspects of human life, especially this pandemic has opened our eyes. It has made us realize that the world is family. The whole world is our family, and no country, how rich they are, can take care of every citizen of their country. So it's going back to individualized medicine. It's going back to understanding that the human collective consciousness is affecting everything. Global warming is nothing but internal inflammation, which is a silent epidemic that is a killer to almost every developing as well as underdeveloped countries. And the developed countries even more. What Gangadharanji was saying about the aspect of ecology and Ayurveda. Because I think that's where it's boiling down to, the quality of the soil, farming, agriculture, production of the food, what it does to our body. And I think the new team of Ayurvedic doctors, researchers that is coming out, they need to take very, very simple things. You don't have to really create a very complex thing. Even when you take one sutra about, say, Nidrayattam Sukham Dukkham Pushti Karsha Balavalam, each word, you can spend a lifetime on research. Why lack of sleep will make you dukkhi or unhappy, or how it will make you happy and relax, how it will make you gain weight or lose weight, how it will create more energy or you'll deplete your energy. Life and death, we are barely scratching this at the surface, that each of this sutra and the words, actually you can spend a lifetime in researching about it. And there are numerous things. And the thing is, you don't have to confine to only one thing. You can study embryology and understand what eugenics is all about and improve the quality of progeny. And how do we do that? You can focus on anti-aging. You can focus on food, particles, medicines. I have helped numerous companies to create Ayurvedic products, and many of them have a business more than $100 million. The technology of using the right kind of herbs and foods in a format that is much more bioavailable for the system. So there are numerous avenues for research. I'm like a little kid who is really excited to go out and do and venture in so many different fields and interact with people who are way more smarter and talented than me. You constantly learn and grow. Never stop learning.
Thank you.
And it will energize you to do something what is really good for your sciences. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Suhas. In fact, a very great message for, like, that there is kind of possibilities to, ponder. Also, contemporary scientific message. I think we are coming now to very short closing remarks. So first, I would like to invite Dr. Share his closing remarks for the day. Dr.
Sir, you
Mark?
have to unmute yourself.
Dr. Mark?
Yes, yes, thank you very much. This has been a beautiful panel and exploration of bringing Ayurveda into the modern world and doing so all around the world. And it leaves me inspired about the possibilities for Ayurvedic medicine as we go forward. I envision a world where we live in harmony with one another and we live in harmony with nature. I hold this vision knowing that we as human beings are imperfect and that we will inevitably have challenges along the way. And yet the knowledge of Ayurveda provides a path. It provides a roadmap for how to live our lives. And this is knowledge that is more important today than perhaps at any time in our lives or maybe even in the world. We have an incredible level of disharmony in the world, and we're seeing it in terms of the climate catastrophe. We're seeing it in terms of the pandemic. We're seeing it in the wars, and we're seeing it in so many illnesses all around the world, whether it's cancer or heart disease. We are losing just so many people unnecessarily. And Ayurvedic medicine provides each of us with the opportunity to live harmoniously. Ayurvedic medicine provides each of us with a set of directions, and all we have to do is live by them. If we live by them, we will be both happy and healthy. And I think that the leaders that we have here today and the leaders who are not here today, that are all over the world, play such a vital role in their communities, in their countries, being beacons of light for harmony, for love, and for balance. And Ayurveda, never underestimate how important it is. It is the single most important body of knowledge in healthcare anywhere in the world. And it is so beautiful that it has spread out of the boundaries of India all over the world, because Ayurveda belongs to nature, and nature exists everywhere. And so as long as we live in harmony with nature, we will be happy and we will be healthy. Thank you so much for the opportunity to join all of you this evening. Namaste.
Thank you, Dr. Mark. In fact, that's very essence of Ayurveda is living with nature, kind of yat brahmande tat pindande. So it's kind of, we are whole reflection of the macrocosmic force. And in fact, many a times when we talk about what is the meaning of Ayurveda, we always say that it's science of life. But if you go deeper into the Sanskrit origin of Ayurveda, Ayuhu is derived from a root word called in gatau. Gatau means continuum. So we are part of this continuum. So many a times we don't debate this deeper meaning of Ayuhu. That means we were always there, we are existing now, and we will always continue to live as consciousness, whether as part of individual consciousness or universal consciousness, doesn't matter. So I think it's a great honor to have you, sir, with us. I would like to move on to Gangadharan, sir, for his closing, short closing comments, sir.
Thank you, Samit. I think it has been very, I should say it was a very good, very profound intellectual exploration and exchange of views. And there are a lot of meeting points, and there is a very good rhythm in the way we all are thinking. And this kind of leadership become to a continuous body kind of thing, which you can plan and do many things for Ayurveda. Even we should think about writing a books together, because we all share Mark, and we have a lot of things that are common, and we think we have to make this platform a little more permanent, and should create a network of this kind of intellectuals who are contributing profoundly to the Ayurveda from all continents, not only from India. So if Samit or your group or Vijayalakshmi can take up something to make the software work more profoundly, more meaningful, I'll be grateful. I think that will be a good service that we can do. As I told you, it is Ayurveda is a sleeping giant. We have to poke it and bring it into life to give contribution. As Mark has been telling, there is no parallel to Ayurveda. Even Chinese medicine is a dwarf in front of Ayurveda. That's the only other system we can equate. And one of the most disrespect we do to Ayurveda is to call it as traditional medicine. It's not traditional medicine at all. It is a knowledge system of its own core. And traditional means that some knowledge that comes from one source to another. That's not the way. Ayurveda is a science of its own grade and gravity. So this few words I would urge for all of us to work together with more energy and more enthusiasm and more purpose. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think, the collaboration is very important, and I see interinstitutional collaboration is only way forward. And I really look forward towards your guidance. In fact, you have been one of our mentors, so I think it's a guru's instructions that we should try to create a forum of scholars working in different parts of the world with similar thought process. Can we come together and create a literature which is more peer reviewed, more accepted, and different dimensions of the perspective of a specific concept can be really tapped. And I think Vijay Lakshmi ma'am has been a great leader, bringing us all together. And I hope that this association would kind of fructify newer initiatives. Thank you, sir, for that guidance. Suhasji, some of your closing comments.
Well, thank you. And again, Vijay Lakshmiji, thank you for putting this together. I think it's a wonderful forum, and we should have many more interactions of this kind to inspire more people. But I think there's a lot of work that is to be done. Many institutions need to collaborate with each other. And more importantly, I think is the people who are the spokesperson of this wonderful science need to really live this way, think that way, behave that way, act that way. And that is the way you will inspire your students, your clients, your patients together. And more importantly, it is exactly what is going to give you the energy and the dynamism to continue to work on this path. Where we are heading, I think this is a great opportunity for making Ayurveda mainstream, even in India as well as globally. And I think what is the need is there's so much of darkness around. The lamp that we have is something which is really, really useful and effective. So I wish all of you all the best, and may Lord give each of us a lot of strength to allow us to be on this track and live up to our dharma. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you, Suhasji. And I think with some basic excerpts from our whole deliberation and what we come across is the first word is collaboration. Then multiple thought process, multiple stakeholders need to come together and enrich the science together. That is a central message. And what are the newer writings of Ayurveda when you talk about what is the new innovation in which we are going to add to the whole vast knowledge of this great Ayurveda science is that newer avenues of integrating new forms of knowledge system and then adding it to the traditional without going away from the tradition as roots, as all the speakers have talked about, is the way forward. And I think I would like to now invite Vijay Lakshmi ma'am to have her closing comments. Thank you for giving us all this opportunity to share our views, and looking forward to have new initiative with more focused attention and guidance from all of you.
So as a start to what you've all asked, I request all of you to be on like an advisory board for Ayushman that we will start celebrating in after Dhanvantri Jayanti. So if we could all just, get together and decide how to go about Ayushman 2021, I'd be most thankful. Dr. Gigi, Dr. Suhas, and Dr. Mark, and of course, Somit. So I will now allow my team to, give the vote of thanks. And of course, I would say, now that I consider you a team, I would only say that, I appreciate that you've all been here with us today. Varsha?
A very big thank you to all of our speakers today. Thank you, Dr. Somit, for steering and giving the conversation a very great outlook. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you, Dr. Mark, Dr. Gangadharan, and Dr. Suhas for sharing your stories and insights. Your constant efforts are making very technical concepts of Ayurveda understandable to laymen that is appealing to so many people. And moreover, it's paving ways to collaboration and integration with other aspects of science, which is the need of today. So we look forward to more from you and to connecting with you again in the future. With that, we come to the end of Word Power, New Writings of Ayurveda. A reminder that we have a session on yoga this evening with Shri Arun HS. He's a yoga teacher from Prashant Yogashraya in Bangalore. And tomorrow is our final day of Namaste. And we have exciting sessions on handicrafts, sports, and soft power diplomacy. So we hope to see you all there. Thank you and Namaste.
Thank you.